Alrighty, so I'm not really trying to be the most biggest woman hater or the most biggest woman hater or etc. Whatever you want to call it when it comes to how women choose to use their consent in their bodies. But at the same time, for a guy, this could also be done for a female as well. When a guy is out there basically, using his body to make a statement towards another female, basically about how worthy that person is, and etc. by their free will choices of consent. There tends to be a problem with that with me, but I mean, then again, they're not consenting to you regardless. So, um, but the thing is too is that it can get very hurtful too when people kind of use their bodies or kind of manipulate their bodies in a way of consent. That's also kind of done in a way of bullying. You know what I'm saying? In a way, it was done in a way of bullying, or they're done in a way of like revenge. That people can use their consent and their bodies in the way to do that, in the way to really stab people in the back and etc. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't think I was actually trying to, I mean, there was a time in my life I don't think I was trying to do it for revenge, but I think I was like in a moment where I wanted to sleep around, and I wanted to sleep around and just not really be faithful or committed to anybody, and I wasn't really open about that and etc. So I was jumping from a couple people to a couple people, in relationships, trying to like basically, it almost looked like I was a fuck boy because, I was jumping from people, person to person in relationships, because I really at the time really should have just been open and more open and upfront, saying I didn't really want anything really faithful, or I didn't want anything really, solidly, solidly committed at the time, but. Obviously, I was a lot younger. I was a lot stupider. Just instead of using my words, instead of handling my feelings and the pain I was going through already because of another female and her consent, and how she wanted to make me feel unworthy with her consent and etc. That and her choices and etc. That I ended up taking my situation and making it kind of bad on my end too, where it actually scarred myself as well as many other people. So, pardon me, I gotta clean my glasses, and I'm stumbling over my words because I'm very stuffy right now, and I'm trying to like get the words out. But I have my stuffiness came back from my COVID, from when I had COVID. My stuffiness came back, so they said it could come back within the 10 to 14 day period. So, my stuffiness is starting to come back to my nose. So it's like I'm starting to I'm starting to get stuffed up in my nose again. But point being is that I'm trying the best I can to do the best I can. I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying to live my life. But I mean, the thing is, I admire sex workers. I do admire sex workers. I do admire what they do. But obviously, they have a right to consent to who they want to consent to, like anybody else. They have a right to tell you, oh, you're not worthy to actually be with this. You're not worthy to be with this, and be the one to whatever with them and etc. So it's the same thing with all kinds of other women too. But sometimes women they kind of have a way of manipulating their bodies in situations, and things that are kind of like a fuck you to other guys and other people that might have wanted them, or might have wanted to be with them, or etc. And stuff like that, where they're kind of manipulating their bodies to really kind of bully or try to take a stab or jab at somebody to really say fuck you to them and etc. I mean, we're all humans, and it's not fair that people can use sex and their body language and stuff to really kind of bully, or really kind of intentionally try to emotionally harm somebody in their emotions. But that's the one thing I don't like about sex work. I mean, obviously, I guess in sex work there's certain lines and things that people have too, that maybe they'll say, oh, I don't want a committed relationship. I don't want to be in a committed relationship. So if that's established that they don't don't want to be in a committed relationship, you can't get your feelings hurt by saying, oh, it was committed and stuff like that. But there's some women out there that you think you want to commit to and stuff like that, and then really they act like you're not big enough, or you're not worthy enough for the consent and stuff like that. You're not like worthy, or worth their time for the consent. So they're basically using the. I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna keep my language PD. Keep my language PD. Keep my language PG. As I am getting mad at the little bike guy when I'm trying to like talk on the fucking video here. But I'm saying is that people will use their consent to basically do things that are kind of really fucked up and shady. And, personally, they have a right to use their consent of how they want to use their consent. So that's the one thing I don't like about sex and sex workers and things of like consent is like, people don't have to consent to you and stuff like that, but then people can throw shade with their consent, and they can throw shade with their bodies and certain situations and things that really kind of make everything fucked up, I think there was a lot of things fucked up when it came to certain things too. I mean, I'll have to bring it. I'm going to bring it up one more time and say that Taquanis is kind of like doing exactly what I'm explaining here, but she also had a lot of other things going about the situations and things that were not okay or proper to really have to deal with and stuff when it came to like business dealings and stuff. Like she had like Taquana's had a big turnover. Taquana's had a big turnover when it came to people who try to work for her and stuff like that. She had a big turnover, so she hadn't had a lot of people really like stable or solid that really wanted to take the job and work for her. A lot of people kind of worked for her, and she had to fire a lot of people. And a lot of people say, well, that says a lot about Taquana because she had to fire a lot of people, right? She had to fire a lot of people, and she had a huge turnover where she couldn't get anybody solid. And that either says something about the workers or it says something about the employer, So, I mean, people look at me and say, oh, they're going to blame me because obviously people know me and people know I like black women and people know this and that about me, about liking black women, etc. That people think I had a hand in something, or I was going to have a hand in something to make the situation 10 times worse. But the whole thing about Taquanas and stuff too, it's getting 10 times worse because Taquana is obviously using her body language and stuff in her music videos and stuff to really, kind of take those jabs and say something to me and some other people out there probably that, were unworthy of her time and attention and etc. That she's trying to take, use her body language to, try to take those jabs and make you feel really unworthy, I felt really unworthy dealing with her because obviously I'm not the type of guy that she would really respect because she has certain values of what a certain guy she would respect would be, when it came to like certain things he would have in place for his life and etc. But I mean, maybe my life isn't altogether. Maybe my life isn't the greatest like 100% put in place. But it is my life, and I am an adult. I am an adult. I am a 34-year-old man. I am an adult. I can do what I need to do. It's just that thing. It's just that thing with sex workers, and it's not even just with sex workers. It's just in people in general. Is that people seem to play these games with consent. People tend to play these games with consent and stuff like that when it comes to different things and stuff like that people tend to play games and they tend to really, try to manipulate stuff with their bodies and stuff and try to make other people feel some type of way. Either they're trying to turn somebody on or they're trying to, turn somebody off by trying to, hurt their emotions and etc. by saying they're unworthy and there's better people out there that can basically be with that and, hit that and whatever else they want to say, But basically, there's been a lot of games about consent played with me for quite a few years now. There's been a lot of games of consent played with me. when it came to women and females. And that's the only thing I really don't like about sex workers and sex, is that there's women out there that will play games with consent and stuff, and then try to make you feel like you're not worthy, or etc. when it comes to stuff. And it makes you feel some type of way. It makes you feel kind of really, emotionally kind of, especially if you're a good person. I mean, obviously some people that really are into the sex life and stuff, they're kind of a bit more sleazy and stuff, or they can be a bit more sleazy and dirty minded and stuff. But if you're a nice guy that really wants, has nice things going for you and stuff like that, I mean, sex work might not always be the place for you to explore the women in sex work, because some of those women don't always need a nice guy. They need the guy that's really going to get them off, and to get their jollies off, to do what they has to do for them, and sex, basically. So but the silver lining is you can't make anybody choose you. You can't make anybody choose you, but you should be thankful for the one who does. You can't make anybody choose you, but you should be thankful for the one who does, and thankful for the one who does choose you and stuff. When it comes to sex, or when it comes to relationships and stuff. But I mean, obviously, sometimes when somebody chooses you too, you have a right to say, we have a right to say in your consent whether you're going to consent for that relationship, or whether you feel that that's the right relationship for you, and etc. So it's always but there's been a lot of games played with consent and stuff that. Just the reason why I'm coming on to say this is, like, I admire sex work. I admire sex. I admire the sex workers. I admire kind of I kind of do like the whole culture, but I mean, sometimes I put it down and stuff too, is because it's when people have the underhanded intentions to really use their consent and stuff to really make me feel some type of way, or make another person feel some type of way because of how they're supposed, of how somebody wants to make them feel, and obviously they want to make them feel very shitty and stuff like that, So, some women don't think some men deserve to have sex, or deserve to have any type of pleasures and stuff like that with them, Some women think some men are bums and stuff, and shouldn't have a right to anything like that. But I'm at that point now where it's just like I'm shaking my head and just saying, people have consent to do what they need to do. And I mean, there was a time too I was running around too with my consent, and I really wanted to. I wanted a relationship, but it wasn't the right time for a relationship, and I really kind of just wanted sex, and I didn't really know how to just come out and say, "Oh, I just wanted sex," so I jumped from relationship to relationship, and that wasn't a good thing to do either, especially being brand new to a town that you would have to make your name in and stuff like that. That there were some people probably looking at you funny and stuff like that, but so I just wanted to get that off my chest, though. It's about how people use their consent, I mean, sometimes I think within how people use their consent should be illegal. But apparently people have a right to consent and say what they want to do with their consent, and that's the whole thing about consent, is that there are certain boundaries and things where people do have rights and things to say how they say and how they feel about what they allow, what they don't. But sometimes when they manipulate that consent to a more malicious or more harmful way to another person, especially when it comes to sex or relationships, etc., to say, well, fuck you to one person while they're probably doing it with another or something like that. That's usually where things usually get really kind of fucked up and screwy for people, But I just wanted to get that off my chest because I like sex workers and stuff. I mean, I know sex workers by name. I know different things about that, but you can't make, you can't tell a woman what to do with their body, but then again, you can't tell a man what to do with his either. And but at the same time, it's really kind of really screwy and screwed up to know that there's people they can actually have the consent to basically kind of try to emotionally harm you, but with their actions and what they're doing to try to bully and etc. So. And I've been through this. I've been through this for quite a few years now, where people have been doing that and etc. It's not just Taquana; it was somebody else too. When I had to leave like my mental health, when I had to leave socialization for my mental health program, there was some situations and things like that over some females, and one of those females was trying to use her consent to bully and try to make me feel really shitty and stuff like that because. We had a fallout and she was not happy with the fallout, so I was made to feel shitty with her consent and how she was going to use her consent from here on out. And I basically was told there was nothing anybody could do. I had to either sit there and deal with it, or I could just choose to disappear, which I chose to disappear. So, but regardless of the factor, people are going to do what the fuck they're going to want to do. Nobody has to fucking choose you, and women have a right to do what they want to do. So do men, but it's just like when they have the intention to do the wrong things with their consent and stuff, or make you feel some type of way. That's where I feel kind of wrong when it comes to how you get treated when it comes to sex and consent and stuff. That I feel it almost should be illegal, but it's whether it is or it's not is a big different story. So. But I wanted to get that off my chest. I'm very congested. I'm back to being congested because of being sick. That congestion stuff came back, and I'm doing the best I can to breathe and, try to breathe and do what I gotta do. But I gotta go because my phone's about to die. But I just wanted to get that off my chest and explain that part of life. If I explained it correctly, who knows? But peace.